Good evening, everyone. I'm Koel Banerjee, and I am absolutely delighted to welcome you all to this CSRF today. We are thrilled this evening to launch our last public lecture of 2025 and our 53rd public lecture overall featuring the esteemed Mr. Saurabh Chauhan. Tonight, he will be leading us through the compelling and crucial subject Hall's encoding and decoding model in the Indian context pluralism as stability. But first, I take this opportunity to extend our warmest and most loving wishes to our very dear Managing Director of Velat, Dr. Kalani Velat ma'am, the heart of our Velat family, for a blissful birthday. Happy birthday, ma'am. Your
Thank you very much.
presence blesses today's session. Lots of love. Now, moving ahead, let me share a brief introduction to our organization, Cultural Studies Research Forum. This is a student led non profit organization established in 2022, built upon the conviction that knowledge holds transformative power. We fulfill this mission by organizing free public lectures and discussion that span a diverse cultural spectrum from literature and art to music and food. Our ultimate goal is to empower students, exposing them to novel ideas, nurturing critical thinking, and cultivating a deeper appreciation for the complex and multifaceted world we share. It's time to introduce our respected guest for today, Mr. Saurabh Chauhan. He is currently serving as an assistant professor in the Department of Humanities at Atmiya University, Rajkot, Gujarat. And he is an emerging academic in the field of English language and literature. He is also a member of University Research Advisory Board at that university as well. He possesses linguistic proficiency in English, Gujarati, and Hindi, along with intermediate Japanese. He is a dedicated teacher and researcher. His academic journey reflects excellence, having completed his MA and BA in English with distinction and pursuing a PhD at Saurashtra University. He has qualified multiple national level and state level examination, including UGC NET, Gujarat SET, and GATE, demonstrating his strong scholarly foundation. His research interests include cultural studies, criticism and literary theory, Indian English literature, British literature, translation studies, genre studies, and digital literature, but are not limited to this. He has actively contributed to academia by presenting papers at prestigious national and international conferences, publishing peer reviewed articles on themes ranging from modernist poetics to sustainability in literature. Beyond research, he has taken leadership roles in academia coordination, literary clubs, and NAC activities at his institution. A recipient of NCC certification and active participation in cultural and literary competition, he brings creativity, discipline, and leadership to his academic career. His work reflects a commitment to advancing literary scholarship and inspiring students. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mr. Saurabh Chauhan. Over to you, sir. Sir, let me unmute you. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I've made a co-host now. You can do that.
Yeah.
So I think now I should be audible. Yes. First of all, a very happy birthday to Kalyani Valrat ma'am, and
Thank you very
gratitude
much.
gratitude to the entire foundation for having such a good team and some good organizers who are going through WhatsApp groups, going through the country to find some scholars who are trying to, reach out to audience, and I being one of them. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to begin with. So now I think I can begin my screen share and uh, what I want to go ahead with. Mm, is my PPT visible to you all?
Yes,
I think
yes.
it should be.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Can you do
Yes, I'm just doing that. I just wanted to, yes. So now it should be visible to everyone in a very kind of a beautiful way, I think. Yes.
yes, yes.
So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to bring something very much new to the table, but I'm just going to uncurtle which is already in front of us. So when we talk about pluralism, India stands at a very good juncture. It has always stood on a very good juncture where we can see pluralism in wherever we go, in the country we live in. So yes, what I'm going to go ahead with is this is kind of an abstract of what I'm going to present in this lecture. So what Hall's model of encoding and decoding is, I'm going to recontextualize. I'm trying to do the recontextualization of Hall in Indian setting. So when we talk about Stuart Hall's encoding and decoding, the concept of encoding and decoding, it focuses on the Western media. When it was first published in 1977 in the essay, we get to know television had just emerged, and his focus of this encoding decoding was visual media, that being the television. So, taking that over here, India's complexity is a stabilizing force. How we will take that into consideration? The vast diversity systematically disrupts the possibility of a simple, unchallenged preferred reading. We will go to the preferred reading section when I introduce the concept of decoding and encoding from the center. Diversity fosters a continuous state of positive decoding. Positive decoding again is one terminology, one term which we will take into consideration when we uh, see the, yes, I'll just this. Hmm. Yes. Okay. So I can see my own screen now in a better way. Okay. So what diversity fosters a continuous state of positive decoding and self-correction. How? We will take into consideration through two vectors. The first one being language, multilingualism, and the second one is cinema, Indian cinema. So India's diversity stabilizes and enriches the national identity, and it does not fracture it. In media, it is, we see that there are many ways in which the media which is not 100% Indian, these media channels through every form of media try to see that Indian diversity is not a positive thing. But what we are going to see is how it is a positive thing. So found in India's unique linguistic diversity and decentralized in India. I have some examples in cinema which we will see. So first thing I'm going to give a very brief introduction of the encoding decoding model which is given by Stuart Hall. So whenever it focuses on the process of communication but through media, that is why it is a concept which focuses on the media theory. It is also taken into consideration in media theory. So, what is encoding and what is decoding? Sending the message is encoding in a very simple sense. The person or a group making the media, like a channel or a filmmaker. So, over here, I have specifically taken visual media. puts their preferred meaning or opinion into the story. They use it to show whatever they want to show, and we or the audience, the receiver sees it in that particular way. So that is encoding. The entire message is kind of encoded in the media itself. So that is encoding. Receiving the message is decoding. You, the viewer or the listener or the receiver, takes the message and figures out, interprets it based on our own life experiences, beliefs, and backgrounds. That is the encoding and decoding portion which he puts forward. Now, there are three ways to read it according to Stuart Hall. The first one is agreeing, which over here I will be giving the proper terminology which he uses. You accept the message as exactly the encoder or the sender wants you to understand it. Say, for example, and this happened very much during the earlier portion of this year only, when there were rumors, not exactly rumors, but there were instances where there were Indian Pakistan, the land uh, dispute thing was going on. So there were many rumors going on, and through that, the news channels gave one particular news, which was that the Karachi port was destroyed, which was not originally destroyed, but it was interpreted in that way, and it was made it visible to everyone seeing those news channels in that particular way. So that is agreeing. When we see certain instances, when we see certain references, when we see something which is going on in front of us, we, the reader, listener, viewer, accept it as it is. First thing, that is agreeing. This was just an example to be very precise. Negotiating. You mostly agree, but you change it slightly to fit your own local reality or situation. You agree, but you don't agree. It is kind of that portion, the gray area in that particular way, that you negotiate whatever is sent to you. So that in that way you interpret it. You don't just accept it as given. You interpret it. So that is negotiating. And the third is opposing, completely rejecting whatever is, sent to you, whatever is, broadcasted in a term which he uses, whatever is broadcasted is not taken into consideration completely. It is said that no, whatever is broadcasted through the media, the visual mediums, visual media is not correct. So that is opposing. But one thing which we will be taking into consideration over here is that the reader, the viewer, the listener, or the receiver is active. The model only approves the audience which is active, not passive. You are not just a sponge. You don't just accept whatever is given. You have the ability to decline, you have the ability to decide, you have the ability to accept whatever is sent to you through the media. Okay, so this is what the encoding decoding model over here, according to Stuart Hall, approves of. So this is kind of a visual medium, visual kind of aid. So encoding, you over here see the production of the message or the preferred reading, whatever is broadcasted is visible in the message or the media text in the middle. The three ways of reading are over here. The dominant hegemonic position, there seems to be some typing error in the image. The negotiated position, where you accept but not completely, you reject but not completely. And the last one is oppositional position or the oppositional reading, the dominant hegemonic reading, the negotiated reading, and the positional reading. In all these three, one thing which remains common is the process of decoding. In all these three readings of whatever is broadcasted, whatever is accepted by you, there is a very good portion of decoding. You try to decode it. Even if you accept it, you decode it in the process of past, in the process of understanding whatever is going to happen in the future, in the acceptance and in the dominant hegemonic position or the dominant hegemonic reading. The same thing happens with negotiated reading. But one more thing which negotiated reading or the negotiated position accepts is that there will always be some kind of an uncertainty. You accept, but you don't accept. Why? Because you don't accept the uncertainty of whatever is going to be broadcast, whatever is being broadcasted. You don't accept the uncertainty of it. So that is negotiated reading, as Stuart Hall posits it. And the oppositional reading, you understand, you read, but you do not accept. So, as I stated in the previous slide, the last point becomes a very important point, that you as a reader, you as the listener, or you as the receiver are active. That is why there will always be a decoding, which is the interpretation of the knowledge. And the framework of knowledge is being, accepted, rejected, understood by you in a very socio-cultural context. Because when Stuart Hall gave this theory, gave this concept in a better way to put it, it was not just for the elite to read. It was for everyone to understand that socio-cultural context matters in a very important way. Why? Because the interpretation of the message, in which there will be dominant hegemonic reading, negotiated reading, or the oppositional reading, it will depend on the reader. So, yes, this is where you need to be an active reader. So, yes, this was the uh, Stuart Hall's encoding and decoding model. So, yes, now what I'm going to do is, we are going to see how the model of encoding and decoding, where he says that this dominant hegemonic reading or the dominant hegemonic position is the most seen one, is not visible in India. How? Through two key vectors. The first one is multilingualism, and the second one is Indian cinema, as I just noted. So, taking much time, I am going to go for the first vector. So, preferred reading. Yes, as I mentioned, preferred reading. In Western media, this resistance is often seen as conflict against hegemony. Yes, that we already discussed. In India, divergence is a systematic feature, not an anomaly. How? Through the decoding process, which takes place in 22 plus languages. These are scheduled languages. We in India have more than 200 languages, including all the vernaculars. So, how this decoding encoding model, which is a model which, when Hall puts it, it is a model in context of a Western perspective, where there is, and in UK, very specifically putting forward, in UK there is only one language. Whatever is broadcasted, it is in one language. Whatever is decoded is in one language. Whatever is encoded is in one language. So whatever is sent forward is directly accepted in a very simple way. That is what Stuart Hall posits in his entire model of encoding and decoding. That is why he states that the hegemonic reading is very much visible in this entire social cultural context. But in India, it is not so. And the linguistic gap forces audience to translate and localize abstract national discourses. Let's not go to the national discourses directly, but take it a very good metaphor of prism. When we see a prism, the light enters in a single ray, in only one color, which is white. But when it goes out, when it is, kind of, the output is visible in seven colors. India, or the context of India, is just like that prism through two or more ways. The first one is translation. How? One thing which we know is that almost each and every Indian knows three languages. Almost. Those who are educated class, of course, educated class. Apart from that, two languages at least. One is a regional language and one is Hindi. Okay, we understand, we cannot speak, but we understand Hindi. That is one thing which is visible. So, two languages at least. But in the educated class, there are three languages which are visible. Three languages in which we understand. So, this process prevents any single monolithic meaning to be delivered or single monolithic ideology from achieving unchallenged hegemonic closure. Uh, a very simple understanding, a very simpler way to put it would be something is broadcasted in, say, Hindi. Generally, news channels, when we see, they broadcast whatever information, whatever news they want to broadcast in Hindi. But in every state, every person understands it in cognitive way through their own mother tongue. That's a fact. Over here, whatever is received in is in one language, but whatever is understood is in the second language, and this second language is the mother tongue. So, in that way, in that mother tongue, the cultural background of that particular person in that particular state or in that particular region would understand it in their own particular socio-cultural context. Say, for example, uh, news related to business has been broadcasted. Let's just take an instance that a news related to business has been broadcasted. Now it has been broadcasted on a national channel, not to name any, but on a national channel which broadcasts news in Hindi. Would it be understood by everyone in the same language, in the same information, in the same context? No. A person in Mumbai, Mumbai being the very popularly, financially well-known metropolitan, would understand it in a different. Now, the same thing, the same news, if, say, for example, in a state where sports is very much well-known, Haryana would not be considered that same, it would not be considered in that same important way. Or an example of Gujarat. Gujarat is considered to be a very business profound state that focuses on business. So in all these three states, same news would be understood by a single person in different that particular person would also differ. Say for example, a person who is the same examples, the same three states, a person who is a businessman in Haryana take it into more consideration than a person who is not into business in Gujarat. So, in that way, all that is broadcasted is understood in the socio-cultural background, taking consideration into language in their own way. So, this fosters a decentralized consciousness grounded in local relevance. Now, the same thing in political consciousness. Not everyone would take the same political scenario in the same way, just like the example of business. So, this continues to lead towards positive decoding. And in this, we have a critical scenario, a scenario where critical thinking fosters in a better way, because intellectual pluralism is becoming more, is not just expanding, it is multiplying. The positive decoding is this, that whatever is broadcasted in the same language is never understood in the same language. Whatever is sent or encoded in the same language is never understood in the same language. So, this is the linguistic prism factor which I wanted to point out. Because of multiple languages, because of the Indian subcontinent, because of the Indian country, India being a multilingual country, there will never be a single monolithic language which has power, because each and every language will have power. And this is what even Sujit Mukherjee in his book, Translation as a Discovery and Translation as a Recovery, wants to posit that whatever is there in one particular language will not remain in the same language forever in India because of multiple languages being there. So, yes, this is what I wanted to show through linguistic prism. There is a necessary filter, there is, and also this filter is at times also removed because it is needed to be removed. So, yes, this is the linguistic prism factor. The second factor, which is kind of which might be uh, more interesting for some young individuals because cinema comes into picture, including me. India's federal space. Uh, when we talk about visual medium, the first thing which we took into consideration was language. Language is not a visual medium, it is a medium which is spoken. Language is not visual. So, over here in this particular scenario, it is not always 100%, you know, kind of understandable for everyone. But in its contrast, cinema is visible to everyone. So, anyone who has monetary benefits, of course, taking that into consideration. India's federal space offers again a multiple interpretive state. Why? Because India does not have a single cinema. Each state has their own cinema. Almost each state has their own cinema. Be it Gujarati cinema, be it Malayali cinema, be it Telugu cinema. Every state has their own cinema. There are terms which are coined from Bollywood to Collywood to Tollywood to Mollywood, Sandalwood. All these terms are used for regional industries of cinema. This entire regional cinema is kind of a cultural asset which enforces the national identity, which enforces the pluralism, which enforces the national identity. Why? Because they express their state level cultural identities, which has unique codes as Stuart Hall would put it. These codes show their cultural identity, which are different from the other states, but are Indian in their own perspective, in their own way of uh, expression. Why? Because in each and every way, there will be certain nuances, there will be certain factors which will always be Indian, which will not be found in Western scenario. So this is a very important thing which we need to take into consideration. The later slides, I have some examples. So I wanted to need to focus on. This counters the centralized Hollywood or European cinematic models. This freedom of variety guarantee that though no single code can dominate the national cultural discourse. We have seen many uh, state movies made not in Hindi going to national and international Academy Awards and winning. So yes, no single cinema becomes the best in terms of their own expression, in terms of their own audience. This is ensured by regional cinema. How? Let's take that into consideration. Unity through distinctiveness, negotiating pan Indian themes. Almost all the movies have a level of themes which are pan Indian: family, justice, patriotism, corruption. And I have taken specifically those into consideration because they can, make it a bit more concrete kind of examples. However, they frame these themes using a regional code, local language, dress, and socio-cultural context. including food habits. The first example is Drishyam. Drishyam is not originally a Hindi movie. Drishyam is an adaptation which was taken from uh, a movie which was from Kerala. And the entire focus was on the family, on the context of family. How the same thing which is expressed in the Malayali movie is expressed differently in the movie we know Ajay Devgan's movie Drishyam. How these two things are the same but expressed in a different way through the regional movie, through the regional cinema. This is what I want to point out, that there will always be kind of regional expression which will go ahead, but it need not, fracture whatever is the real thing. There will always be some kind of a maneuvering which is going on, but it will remain somewhat close to whatever is real. So yes, this was the example of Drishyam, that family and justice in both the movies go along together. And in the same way, they express whatever is real in a very different way. Just a second. So, in the same way, these two movies show a very popular theme of justice in a different way. This was the first example. The second example is Tamil cinema's Shivaji. This is just an example. Often frames social justice as a hyper stylized fight against corruption using distinct regional political codes. Shivaji was Rajnikant's one of the. I personally love Rajnikant very much because of his uh, powerful performance. The same political things are kind of visualized in a very different way. Crucially, this exchange shows a local cultural confidence as the foundation source of stronger multifaceted national feeling. Shivaji's same kind of situation, a very similar kind of situation, I would not say the same, is visible in Bollywood movie The Gabbar. Bollywood movie Gabbar. We see that Shivaji is a very powerful businessman. In Gabbar, we see that he is not a very powerful businessman, but he is a person who is trying to, do something good. And in the same way, both of them are trying to do something good. But Shivaji, the character of Shivaji in the movie Shivaji, is a victim of political corruption, monetary corruption, all types of corruption. And Gabbar is the same. Both of these take a certain level of autonomy against the system and go in their own way, which kind of becomes a very similar kind of way, a similar kind of thing expressed in two different situations. So, this is how patriotism in both the movies is similar yet different. So, this is something which I wanted to point out. The third thing, which is very important, which we need to take into consideration, is that regional cinema, along with uh, pan India themes, kind of reinforces media literacy and democratic maturity. How audiences frequently engage in cross cultural viewing. One of the best examples right now is Kantara 1 and Kantara 2. There is continuous cross cultural viewing going on. Whatever is shown in the movie, not taking it only as entertainment, not taking it only as a kind of expression of mythology, but taking it as an anecdote where there was cross cultural viewing, cross cultural exchange in the same country going on. People from Gujarat went to saw that movie. People from Maharashtra went to saw that see that movie, and there was continuous negotiation between the people. No, I like this portion better. I like this portion better. I like this portion better. And in the same way, people also took the mythological portion into consideration and related it with their own cultural settings. Say, for example, the concept of Deva, deity living in the regional or kind of a bounded land is the same in Gujarat. There are people who worship Kul Devi, Kul Devata. That is kind of a similar instance going on in the movie. People correlate with. Okay, no, there is some kind of expression which is the same, but expressed in a different way. So this kind of democratic maturity is enforced by cross-cultural viewing of the regional cinema. There is continuous exchange going on. And at the same time, media literacy also is info kind of, become media literacy also becomes better. Why? Because people see that, okay, the expression is differing. The media through which it is expressed is differing. So media literacy is also enforced. This requires viewers to constantly engage in negotiated decoding to bridge the unfamiliar regional codes. There are some kind of being a cinema enthusiast. When seeing the Kantara in with subtitles, I found certain words which are very interesting, and I can use them whenever I feel like I can use them. There might be some incorrections in pronunciations in the and the wordings, but what I feel is that no, I want to learn that language. I want to be more in contact with that particular language through this regional cinema. So, in this same sense, the pluralism over here of regional cinema enforces a proper kind of expression which is not always visible in the Western media. The viewers accept the universal themes which are always visible in all the movies: the fight against evil, the ways in which the hero, mitigates with whatever wrong is going on in his or her life. The heroine, the protagonist, a better word, mitigates with, negotiates with whatever is wrong in the society, but in a way which is kind of aesthetic in a local level. So this is how regional cinema reinforces whatever is, real, but at the same time expresses it in a regional kind of way. This sustained need to interpret varying nuances elevate the audience's media literacy. This high level of sophisticated interpretation reflect India's deep democratic and intellectual maturity. Why? Because at every stage we interpret whatever is going on. We interpret whatever is in front of us. So in this way, regional cinema enforces whatever pluralism is in our country to lead to a negotiated positive deal. So yes, this was what I feel. To sum it up, what we need to take into consideration is there needs to be a kind of awareness that pluralism of India is not always a destabilizing agent. It can act as a stabilizing agent, a powerful mechanism for cultural assurance in each and every state, in each and every region of India. Why? Because no matter what we say, India exists in pluralism, be it people, be it cultural contexts, be it food habits, be it clothing habits, be it uh, uh, geography. Whatever we take into consideration about India, about our country, is existing in pluralism. And those things can lead to stability. But how? It depends on the democracy, it depends on the people. So, what over here I wanted to posit is that whatever is in India is plural, but not always in a negative sense. Hall's encoding and decoding model, which is a concept, a Western concept, focusing on the media, focusing on the language, which are mono, which are single, which are single. And that is not the situation of our country. In that way, we take it that pluralism acts as a powerful mechanism for cultural self correction, cultural stabilization. So, yes, this is what I wanted to show. I think, yes, we are already around 7:48. I invite all the questions I may have raised in front of you.
Sure, sir. And will you please stop the sharing?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Thank you. I just
no, no, okay.
lost my, it was just
No,
lost my.
thank you so much, sir. That was really insightful and relevant topic you have discussed, and your deep dive into Hall's model, and especially the concept of pluralism as a stabilizer in the Indian context, gives us a
Yes.
powerful perspective. Your takeaway is clear. Multiple voices is the key to our national, or you can say intelligence. We are deeply grateful for your brilliance here. I think I am audible properly because my network connection is a little bit not stable.
Yes, your voice is breaking, but you are audible.
Okay. Okay. So if you have any query, please go through it, and you can only, I mean, if there is no query, you can just talk to with us, sir. There is no problem. Let me check the YouTube
Yes.
at once. Yeah. Anyone? Anyone wants to know something?
If anyone has a question, I would request that you can unmute yourself and ask it away or send it in a chat box so that everyone
Exactly.
can see the question. I think my delivery was up to the mark. There are no questions.
No, no. It was really fantastic. I have one question that
Yes, please.
you have talked about the future and challenges, right? So
Yes.
I hope I am audible. So in the age of this social media uh, and personalized news feed, news are there. Also algorithms are there, which often create echo chambers. And the audience is increasingly protected from oppositional or even negotiated readings. Okay, so do you
Yes.
believe this trend fundamentally challenges the model resilience on diverse audience interpretations? And if so, then how must the Indian media encoder, quote unquote, encoder adapt to break through these digital silos actually?
Uh, my audio is yes on. First of all, a very good question. One thing which you pointed out is real in every situation. The echo chambers always exist, no matter what kind of expression is visible. The echo chambers will always exist. Like right now, not to stray away from the point, but just to give a very good example, there is no one left wing, there is no single left wing, there is no single right wing in our country. There are liberal, right wings in our country, there are conservative right wings in the country, there are radical right wings in the country, there are liberal left wings in the country, there are there are radical right wings, left wings in the country. These are the echo chambers which you point out. That there will never be an entire mass which takes into consideration whatever is directly given. They will always have that small group of people who will discuss about it in their own way and interpret it in their own. And the media houses enforce it, kind of reinforce it, would be a better word. Why? Because in current situation, TRP is a game changer for news channels, for uh, all those money mongering agencies. But in social media, these things kind of, open up a dialogue. Not always, but in a very a kind of a structured way. After a very long time, they open up a dialogue from what I have experienced, from what I have read. This dialogue leads to a proper negotiation of the culture. These dialogues lead to a proper conversation which is required to, open up these echo chambers. These echo chambers are very sophisticated, very small groups which have kind of their own mean girls vibe. Not always, but most of the times. But after a very long period of time, these open up a conversation which will lead to understanding of properly what is being delivered. Not always it happens, but after a very long time, it happens. So yes, I think this is what I believe, this is what I have read, that
True, true.
these echo chambers require some time to flourish, and after that they themselves die out.
All right. Yes, it is true. And there is a question from YouTuber, one of my YouTube audience, that
Yes.
considering the speed of digital misinformation, is the audience ability to decode rationally being replaced by instant reaction, threatening social stability?
Could you please repeat whatever the insta reaction? What?
I mean, he's asking that considering the speed of digital misinformation, is the audience
Hmm.
ability to decode rationally being replaced by instant reaction like emojis or the stickers and threatening social stability? Is it threatening
This
it?
is this is a very Gen Z kind of question to begin with.
Yes, he is from Gen
Yes,
Z. Sorry.
yes, seems like it. From what I believe, that this misinformation kind of thing does not always, is not always answered by emojis. First things they have, first thing for the first answers these kind of misinformations have, it is something which my teacher would call a knee-jerk reaction, a kind of a reflex action, and it does not always happen to be it does not always happen to be in communication. It is not always in language. So this is the first thing. But after this misinformation in digital age through social media, these things are always verified by the readers themselves. Say, for example, right now in an era of chat GPT, in an era of GPT, people always kind of verify with GPT. It's a fact. And younger generation always tend to do that. If not that, then Google. There were some ads about Google some while ago. I don't exactly remember how much long, how much past, how much in the past. The ad used to go something like that, that there would be some kind of question, and the audience, the actors over there would go Google kar le. So this is happening right now. That whatever information is sent is always questioned. So whenever it is always questioned, whatever is misinformation always is kind of verified, kind of rectified. Dharmendra's death, it happened really, but before that, there were some misinformation that he had died. But within some 2 to 3 hours, there were influencers who would, rectify this information. So all misinformation is always rectified in some or in a very less amount of time, in very less amount of time. Yes. So yes, this I think this answers the question, whoever's question is
Yeah,
it is.
you are right. Uh, okay, someone has write something in the chat box. Okay. She's saying that excellent session, immense knowledge of the topic, highly appreciated. And she
Thank
has
you
a
so much.
question. How
I
might the
I
rise of
I can read
artificial
it.
intelligence? Okay, yes, please.
How, so the question
Actually,
is,
sir,
how
I
might
am
the
reading it.
rise of,
Please proceed. I am
okay, okay,
reading
okay, 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 sorry.
YouTube audience. That's all. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So
I
there
mean,
is some question in
yeah,
the
because,
messages as well.
yeah. That's why I am reading it for the
Yeah,
YouTube
please
audience.
read
They
it from
can't
the
see the
YouTube thing.
chat box. Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay, okay,
how might the
okay.
rise of artificial intelligence in content creation affect the encoding process in the Indian media landscape?
Okay. Um, a very good example of this would be Mahabharat. In on Prime Video, if I'm not wrong, there is one new show. There is new show which is right now in motion, Mahabharat, which is entirely made up by AI. Those of you who might know that the entire series is being created through AI. What GPT, I don't know to be very sure. Mahabharat, like Mahayuddha or something. That is I'm not very sure of the name, but the entire show is created by AI. But if you have seen even one episode of it, you might see that at the moment, AI is being very advanced, but it is not at the moment. We see that there are junctures in all those things, in all these content creation things, that we kind of see that the touch of reality, the touch of human is missing. That point where the kind of human touch is missing, kind of makes it a very monotonous thing or something which is not very real. It feels like it. This is one take which I take into consideration. But the rise of AI in content creation is a question, because no matter how good AI may be, creative thought will always come to a human mind first. This is the perspective I believe in. So yes, can I read the other questions in the chat box?
Sure, sure. Yes, yes.
So, Miss Mahima Joshi has asked, what challenges might arise if India were to adopt a more centralized cinema model like Hollywood in terms of disrupting the pluralism that ensures stability? Then, first of all, this might not be possible because no region would want to do away with their own regional cinema. Say, for example, right now, a Gujarati movie, Lalu, has just crossed 100 crores. It has generated revenue for the state of Gujarat. That's a fact. But if this regional cinema would go to the national, this centralized kind of cinema model, then all the monetary benefits, all the revenue would not go to the state, but to the entire country. So this would not be possible because no state would be, very much happy in doing that. But even if it were to do that, production houses would come into picture that no, we want to promote our own cultural identity, our own regional identity in our own way. So pluralism will exist. Why? Because if not the first way, second way will come into picture. That no, production houses will take it. Say for example, Hombali is a very good example. Say for Mahavatar Narsimha is a movie which is seen in India, but the entire situation again is Indian, but came from a state production house and it went very well. So yes, this is example. So there is no way a centralized cinema model might come into picture. And even if it does, production houses will be our rescuers. There is, I think I should proceed with Anjali Jain's question. You have said at one point that audience is active. It is also the same in case where the meaning is accepted as it is encoded without negotiation. If I say your name is Angeline Chan, your name is Angeline Chan. If I say your name is Anjali Chan, I am broadcasting something. I am sending a message. Will you accept it? No. In reality, your name is not as such. Reality is not as such. So, almost in yes, as I say, you wouldn't accept it. Why? Because your name is something different. Your reality is something different. And I'm broadcasting something which is different. Both of these things would not come together to form one monolith. But if I am to say that your name is Anjali, and you say, yes, my name is Anjali, that is an encoded message which is accepted without negotiation. Why? Because it is real. So at most of the instances, the message is being accepted. Why? Because it is real. 1 plus 1 will always lead to 2. If I am saying 1 plus 1 leads to 3, it will not be accepted because it is not real. Whenever something is accepted, it tends to be something real, or the receiver is not very literate. Yes, this would be something which I feel is correct for this question. Excellent example. Thank you so much, Bindya Chauhanji. She's my sister. She's also in
Oh,
academics.
it
So
is Chauhan, right?
yes,
Yeah. Thank you joining. Thank you for joining, India. And thank you, Angeline, for the question. And thank you all of you for be there. So it was really an exceptional talk. So as we bring this immense, full, insightful session to a close, it is my distinct pleasure to honor or deliver a vote of thanks. Firstly, a heartfelt thank you to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Saurabh Chauhan sir. Your lecture tonight on Hall's encoding decoding model in the Indian context, pluralism as stability, was not only intellectually stimulating but also remarkably relevant. You expertly navigated the complex theoretical terrain, offering profound insight and practical applications that challenge us to view our diverse cultural landscape through a critical lens. We are truly grateful for the time, effort, and expertise you shared with the CSRF community. The depth of your scholarship is truly inspiring. I would also like to acknowledge and thank all the members who made this event possible. To our again, I want to thank our managing director, Dr. Galani Velat ma'am, whose guidance and blessing, particularly on her special day, continue to illuminate and inspire the Velat family and the CSRF. And finally, to all our attendees, students, academics, enthusiasts, thank you for all active participation, your presence, and for creating such an engaged and thoughtful environment. Your engagement is the true success of these public lectures of ours. On behalf of Cultural Studies Research Forum, thank you for joining us this evening. We look forward to seeing you at our next event. Thank you and good night.
just a second. I want to thank some people too.
Okay, sure, sir. Please
First
proceed.
of all, I think ma'am is not here. Kalyani Wallet ma'am is not here.
She is
Please
taking the
extend my
class.
gratitude to her. And I would specifically want to thank you, Koyal ma'am, because of your continuous communication. I was able to, go ahead with this. Thank you so much. You really managed everything very well. And all the participants all as well. Thank you so much. The questions were very good. My talk might have been some there were moments I felt that I was not on the right track. I was going through a digression, but yes, thank you for bringing me back to the topic through your questions so much. And lastly, I would like to thank the CSR, Cultural Studies Research Foundation. Thank you so much, and really appreciate this moment where you are taking a stand that no, we can take lectures which are free of cost. We can take people from all the countries of all the corners of our country, and we can bring together bring them together and arrange something which can be stimulating for the younger audience. Of course, for the scholar audience it is kind of a pleasure to meet all these people, but it is seriously a good gesture from your side that you are doing this. I hope to be in contact. I feel very much good after this lecture. You had a very good audience, and I got to know that, okay, this is being broadcasted on YouTube as well. I'll have to see where I was not making something.
No, no, please don't think like that. And I'm appreciated that you took our invitation and be there. I mean, we here for all of our Valatians, we have a Valat family. So the, I'm really, really thankful to you. And it is actually, it is free of cost because we worth the education at first before any business. So
Yes,
Valat is just for students. It is made for students, made by students, and of students. So that is
this
our
is a very
motto.
good thing. This is a very good
Um,
thing.
and
Thank you so
thank you,
much.
thank you. So, with your permission, I am just ending today's session. And thanks all of you for joining us today. Bye
Thank you
bye.
so much.